Hello everyone, it's Julia again, and it's nice to see you back in 2024. Since this the first video of the new year, today I would like to do something connected to the results of 2023. And since it's a bookish channel, today we'll have the December wrap-up and some of my thoughts on the 12 best books of 2023. And there we go! The December wrap-up first. In December, I read 4 books, which were actually 3, but the one I finished on the 1st of December is like technically a book read in December, but everyone, including me, understands that it is more of a November read. And this book was The Ballot of Songbirds and Snakes by Susan Collins, about which I've already wittered on enough in my other videos. I will just say once again that it is a prequel to the Hunger Games series, where the main character is young Coriolanus Snow. I also saw the film based on this book, and well, I think I've already talked enough about it. So moving on to the second book of December. That was The 4 Habits of Joy-Filled People by Chris Corsi and Marcus Warner. That was something of a self-help book and non-fiction, something in between, I believe. And although there were some reasonable things in it, mostly it just felt awfully pretentious and sententious. I definitely wouldn't recommend it, for I hated the turn of the phrase, and it always felt like the authors believed themselves to be much better than their readers, more like sophisticated, living their lives in a writer way, and so on. It happens with self-help books, but in this one it was just unbearable. Then the third book was The Christmas Bookshop by Jenny Colgan. I read this light-hearted novel with a book club. In this book, a redundant shop assistant called Carmen moves to Edinburgh, where his sister lives, to start working in a small bookshop which is on the verge of closing. And all this happens just in the run-up to Christmas. And in this last month or month and a half, things start working out well for Carmen. Her relationship with her sister gets better, with her nieces and nephew too. She finally starts to do something about her utterly imperfect life. And there are also 2 love interests. She ends up with the one she likes better, with the better person. But as for me, love interests were both awfully unappealing, and that might be the reason why I wasn't such a huge fan of this book. Yet what I really liked about it were the marvelously evocative descriptions of wintry Edinburgh. I've mentioned in one of my previous videos that at some point I want to celebrate Christmas and New Year in a city like Edinburgh or Prague, and those descriptions of Edinburgh were just the ticket for me. Anyways, the fourth book of December was What I Wish I Knew When I Was 20. This I planned to read in December, and I think it was the only book that I planned to read and actually read in the end. That was a gift from my dad's, and this was actually the best book in December, because I count The Ballot of Songbirds and Snakes the best book of November, because apart from it, there was only one book in November, The Turn of the Screw, and I don't want to count it as the best book of anything. Well, going back to Tina Selig's nonfiction, yeah, the author's name is Tina Selig. This one was really useful. I liked the ideas expressed in the book. For example, the author mentioned that a problem is just a set of opportunities that the reasonable and the rational are not always the right things, and also that quitting at the beginning is easier. Some of them are fairly obvious if you think about it, but having those things just written down in black and white um, really helps them hit home. And what else? Yep, I wanted to talk a little bit about the difference between nonfiction and self-help books written by women and men, because maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe it's just my lack of luck. But for me this year, the books written, the nonfiction books written by female authors proved to be much better than the nonfiction books written by male authors. So the ones by female authors were What I Wish I Knew When I Was 20, and also Come As You Are by Emily Nagoski, which I read in August. They were both really enlightening, easy to read, and thoroughly enjoyable. Whereas The Four Habits of Joyful People, and also another book that I read in October, I think it was like Girl, Young Woman, Woman. Those two books were written by men, proved to be, well, pretentious, yes, and not that enlightening. I also made some notes on What I Wish I Knew When I Was 20. I literally have like a PDF file of, I think, 6 pages of different quotes. I also sent it to some of my friends just to show them the gist of this book. And I think that I would recommend reading it to anyone. And I will do it. Yeah, I will definitely do it in the future. And now I recommend it to you, my dear subscribers. And having said that, I think it's time to move on to the 12 best books of 2023. Should there be an article? I don't know. Well, let's leave it so. There are 12 best books because there are 12 months. And we're starting with January, obviously. The best book of January was Waffle Hearts by Maria Parr. I read it in Russian translation. So this book is a warm children's story about family and friendship and losing and finding your dears. Which is just so warm and cozy that it was the best thing that I read in January. Then for February, it was Le Mort d'Arthur, or The Death of Arthur by Thomas Mallory. Obviously, I read it in translation, in Russian translation. It was fairly voluminous. This assemblage of stories about King Arthur, but I genuinely liked it because it was like so epic and gripping, and it just felt like a bird flying in the skies and looking down, just seeing the huge perspective, and at the same time diving into another world. Thanks to this book, I was dreaming about nights and not about deadlines. For like I had been dreaming about nights and not deadlines for like 2 weeks in February, and February is one of the worst seasons in terms of deadlines. Then for March, I had Dear Zoe by Philip Beard. This is an epistolary YA novel. Our main character, Tess Denuncio, is 15, and she writes letters to her younger sister, Zoe, trying to come to terms with Zoe's death. Zoe was hit by a car on the 11th of September 2001, like You see what the problem. And so Tess had to deal with not only losing her sister, but also losing her sister on a day when everyone is thinking about one particular catastrophe and mostly commemorates the victims of this catastrophe and forgets about other people who suffered. Mm. And well, also, of course, it deals with simply loss and how to get over it. Honestly, it was amazing. And the film based on it, where Sadie Sink stars, is also quite nice. I think worth recommending. And this book was the best book of the first 3 months of the year, but you will see it later in my book bracket, reading bracket. Moving on to April, the best book of April was The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. In a nutshell, it is a story of a young woman living in a rigid, puritanical society who discovers dark powers within her and at the same time tries to redress the injustices of the society she lives in and to understand herself. Besides, the love line in this book was just what the doctor ordered for me. Like the love interests in this book, unlike the Christmas Bookshop, was a really great guy. In May, the book I liked most was The Island by Aldous Huxley. I read it for a social studies essay, and it was something fairly unusual for me and so deeply philosophical that I really remembered it. I also finished War and Peace in May, and I had debated with myself for a while which book to make the book of the month, but in the end I went for The Island because, well, first it was extremely unusual, and second, I didn't really read War and Peace in May. I just finished it in May, whereas I had read it over the course of almost half a year because I was taking my time to read it and really relishing it. Then for June, my pick was An Infusion of Memory and Faith, if we translate the name into English, but this book is originally written in Russian. This is by Anna and Mark Cohen, a sequel to one of my favorite books, The Pie with Nettles and Ash, which I read the year before, and this sequel answered all the questions that I had after having read the first part of the trilogy. Do we call it trilogy? Yes, I think we do. It had a brilliantly satisfying ending, even despite the fact that it also had some bitter shades to it, because in the end, what the main character got was a really far cry from what she had dreamt about. Oh yeah, this book also brought up the question of how one becomes a villain. Are villains born to be what they are, or are they conditioned, or what? And actually, in this concept, it has something in common with the Ballot of Songbirds and Snakes. I mean, because the theme of a villain becoming a villain are explored in those two books, so I think I can say that this is a theme they have in common. In July, the best book was Wuthering Heights. I rediscovered it. I first read it when I was in year 6, and back then I absolutely hated it. This time I absolutely loved it. It was so spellbinding and enchanting, and it actually felt a little bit like a swamp or like Shifting Sands, because I actively disliked what was happening in the book. I mean, the main events, they're awful, and the main characters are either dumb or just strange, but this book is impossible to put down. It just soaks you in, and you can't put it down. Simply can't. Even when you want to sleep and it's already past midnight. Yeah, that's what I have to say about it. In August, I absolutely loved Babel by R.F. Kuang. I had been looking forward to reading it very much, and it didn't disappoint me. This is a dark academia book, published in 2023, by the way. As for the main themes, well, first, it criticizes imperialism and capitalism. Actually, it does it very openly. I think I like less open critique of things, but still it was great. And it also explored the concept of academic elitism, and well, apart from it, it was just great fun and beautifully written. In September, I picked up The Down Staircase by Bell Kaufman, which was a critique of the educational system, and which showed me once again that teachers are, especially good teachers, are heroes. And I was genuinely surprised by how pertinent to the reality this book was, because it was written in the 1960s, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, or maybe 50s. I think it was 60s. Anyways, it was more than half a century ago, and still, whilst reading it, I caught myself thinking that the events in the book are extremely similar to what is happening in my school just at this moment. In October, I liked Pride and Prejudice more than anything else that I read that month. There was nothing surprising about it, honestly, because ever since I first saw the 1995 BBC adaptation of this story, I have loved it. I have read the book thrice so far, and I have seen the adaptation numberless times. So the fact that I loved it wasn't a miracle. In November, I honestly read only one book in full, which was The Turn of the Screw, but The Ballot of Songbirds and Snakes, which was finished on the 1st of December, goes to November, because, as I've already mentioned in this video, it was way better than The Turn of the Screw, and I don't want The Turn of the Screw to be the best book of the month, because I didn't really like it that much. And for December, I chose What I Wish I Knew When I Was 20 by Tina Silic, about which I've just talked. And I don't think that I can give any more comments about it. Now, just some words about my book bracket of this year. As you may see it, the final big battle was between The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes and Wuthering Heights. And in the end, Wuthering Heights was the book winning, because of the unexpectedness of this rediscovery, and also because of the feelings that it gave me. You know, with The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, I expected that I would like it, and there was nothing so special about the fact that I liked it. There was nothing about the shifting sense feeling that Wuthering Heights gave me. So Wuthering Heights is officially the best book of 2023 for me. And this, I think, brings me to the end of this video, which I hope you have enjoyed. I thank you for watching it, and I thank you for coming back to me in 2024. I hope it's not the last time you are watching a video of mine. If you want to see me again and aren't yet subscribed to my channel, please do it. And bye!